Hi, this is Jesse Rogers from the Student Learning Center at Palm Beach State College. I spoke at the 2025 Open Florida OER Summit and demonstrated my process for using artificial intelligence, usually Claude and Gemini, to create learning objects, specifically educational games. In this video, I'll be demonstrating what I've built since then and ideas for how you can use these freely available resources in your classes right now to strengthen student learning. I'll start with a game called REACTOR Core. In a recent conversation I had with Professor Lauren Zotto, she mentioned that helping students to understand signed numbers and solving algebra equations were the most pressing needs. That weekend, I went home and built a sci-fi puzzle game called REACTOR Core. In this game, you're an engineer who has to balance matter and antimatter by selecting one of three cards. The game drives the concept home visually and kinesthetically that whatever you do to one side, you must do it to the other. So for example, in this case, we can win in one move because we have the red, which are antimatter. There's E minus antimatter, which is like a negative. You can see the equation right up here. E minus 1 equals -3. So we have E minus, there's one of these, equals, there's three of these. So what we would have to do is hit it with a matter, and you can see now we've isolated that E equals 2. I probably need to slow it down a little bit so you can see the result, but you get the idea. So E minus 2 antimatter equals 1 antimatter. So we really just need to focus on this side right here. What would it take to make this 0? So we only have these three cards here, and we have to do it with these three cards. So for example, matter, we can do that with 3, and then now we have to cancel out a matter, so we're going to use an antimatter. And there you go. So the efficiency with which we do it is really the main thing. You can't really lose because the game automatically balances both sides, and that's the part where students have a problem, is if they do an operation to one side but they don't do it to the other. So this avoids the possibility of that and visually demonstrates how to solve the problem. So both sides have to have 4 added to them, and then now we can subtract 3 from both sides, and we've got it. So that's the efficient way to do it, and that's really all it measures. If we're very inefficient with how we do this, let me try to accidentally. Okay, so if we're inefficient with how we do this, then that's okay. We can still get back to where we need to be, and it's going to tell us that there are better ways to do it than the one that we found. So we just go to the next problem and try again. And that's pretty much the loop for REACTOR Core. And sometimes it takes multiple steps, and that is the most efficient way. So in this case, there wasn't much we could do since we only have one antimatter card. So that was the best operation that we could do. So that got us 3 stars. All right, so that is the REACTOR Core game. The next game I want to show you is called LIGHTSPEED Navigator. So we're going to go to New Game, and we have our choice of some missions that we can take. We're going to go ahead and select the middle one here. That pays pretty well. And all we have to do is go to Echo Buoy and recalibrate our charts. So we're going to click on that and then undock. Okay, so we're starting at this Pantheon station. That's our home base, and then we've got some other locations that we can go to, but we want to go to this Echo Buoy right over here. Now eventually this is going to be filled up with all kinds of places you can go and missions you can do, and this is really just like the minimum viable version of what I've got here. So what we're going to do to navigate here, we have to know what the radius is. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that would get us to what the x distance is, but you can see there's also a y distance here. So it looks like it's obviously going to have to be greater than that, but it's also going to have to be at some angle that is lower than 0. Because if you know the unit circle, you go positive in this direction and negative in this direction. So if we did 45, that would take us up in this positive direction, but maybe negative 45 is the way to go. Negative 45. So it's not quite negative 45, maybe negative 35 or 25. Looks like we're pointed in the right direction now, but we do need to go farther. So I'm going to make it r equals 11. Now, once it gets into this, it should light up here and you should be able to engage. But this is a negative number and I haven't had it deal with negatives yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 360 to that. And so that should be maybe 335, and there we go. So it'll recognize 335. Right now it only handles positive numbers. So we're going to prepare for launch. And as we travel towards it, we're going to be able to collect asteroids. So I'm going to go on manual pilot, and this uses the same kind of technology that they used in like 1980s race car games. And basically what we're trying to do is collect all of these values. Now at the top, oops, it switched on me. You see how at the top it says sine 45, so that means I can collect these, but it's about to change. You see there's a little timer bar that changes periodically. So cosine 30 degrees, I can go ahead and select those, and that's how that works. So there's not too much to it yet, and obviously if you take too much damage, then eventually you're going to run out of shields. At the top left is your shields. And okay, so we had to leave, but we did complete our contract. We got to the destination, and we got our credits, and that's pretty much the game loop. And there's things that you can sell here now, so we'll go to the market, we'll sell these. And your goal is to accumulate money in this game. What I'm planning to do is merge those two games that I showed you into a single experience where you're going around the galaxy repairing drives, right? Repairing reactor cores and generating energy. So you're basically like a galactic repair technician. And so that's going to be the plan for the game. If you have a different plan, of course, this is an open source project. So both of these and they're MIT licensed, and you can fork these and change them however you want. It is worth remembering that I did not write a single line of code for either of these games. It was all just instructions that I gave to the AI. I was specific about what I wanted, and then within a few moments, it generated thousands of lines of code. So, what would have taken a highly experienced programmer weeks to create in the past, I can now do in a few hours on the weekend. And so that's the world that we live in now. I'm excited to be exploring this with you, and I hope that you will be interested in subscribing to the channel and telling me what you think of these projects, what you like, what you don't like. Try them out, because in the show notes, I'm going to leave links to all of these projects that I create, and also to my Substack, where you can get additional commentary, and that's also free. So all of this is MIT licensed, like I said, and go ahead and try it out. If you like it, share it with your students and let me know what they think of it. So I'll be checking out the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.